Bingo. That. That is probably the best way to describe Stan Brakhage's work. Mostly because of the fact that there's no sound, or at least of the 25 films that are in this compilation. Yeah. Anyway. Hello there! Nate Jackson, Criterion Collection Reviewer Guy of all sorts of places and peoples and things and colors and paintings and silent films and scratching on films. With, oh boy, number 184 by Brakhage, an anthology. 25 films by Mr. Stan Brakhage. He's a filmmaker from the I think he started in the 50s. And he made, so back says he made, nearly 400 films. And most of them are quite nerve-wracking. I went into this not knowing what it was, not knowing what I'd be watching, thinking that this would, these were actually short films, these were actually films that, had plots and stories and all that, just like Criterion usually does. And then they go around and then they give me this thing and suddenly everything is just turned on to my side and all that. So I'm like, oh my god, what the heck's going on? So yeah, anyway, 2003, although this compilation was produced in 2003. 2003, 243 minutes color, black and white, monaural silent, mostly silent. Only 5 films of the 25 films that are on here. Only 5 of them have any sound, which makes for a very weird feeling. Just watching it, there's no soundtrack or anything like that, or no silent film. Even silent films have piano score or something like that, but no, it's just you just have to watch it, and it just, I don't know, it just felt weird, because I had to, all I heard was the sounds around me, and so my eyes were fixated on the image, and maybe that's part of it, you watch better when there's no sound. I don't know. It's very, very strange. And so are these films. Anyway, so, like I said, when I saw there were 25 films, when I realized what they were, I was like, I gotta take notes, because I wasn't sure, and I don't take notes often in my little notebook. The last one I took notes on was George Washington, and I don't remember why. Oh, because it didn't have a listing, and I decided to write down everybody's names, and it was easier than writing down names in a foreign film, because I can hear them and pronounce them, and I don't know. Anyway, so at first my notes were a little more detailed at first. The whole first page is the first disc, and then the second page some of them I couldn't even take notes on, because they're just paintings basically. He stopped filming still images, and they became paintings, or films of paintings, or it's really hard to describe. This is one you really gotta watch for yourself, but I'll give you my synopsis of everyone as far as I can call it. So the first one is called Destifilm, and bang out of the gate is the first one we have with sound, and the soundtrack is just this really weird, avant-garde, jazzy, weird tune, and the first thing that came to mind was John Coltrane's Ohm, which if all the films were like this, I'd be like, oh shit, really? It's basically it's a film of just these people, kids, teenagers at a party, and some of them are smoking. There's a guy playing a mandolin, a guy building a tower out of paper or booklets or something. And at one point, they're all watching this couple kissing, and yeah, it's really, really crazy. And there's a list on the back. This is the list of the back of the booklet, and it shows, what's on each track. And that's when it hit me. And when it hit me that most of them were silent, is that just the film says monaural, and then all the rest of them don't say anything like as far as like monaural or stereo or anything like that. And so that's when it hit me that, whoa, wait a minute, there's no sound in any of the other films. And so I was like, oh Jesus, this is gonna be weird. So anyway, so that's the film. 1964, 6 minutes and 43 seconds. 16 millimeter. They're all 16 millimeter, I think. Oh no, some of them are 35 millimeter. I won't worry about that. Wedlock, House, and Intercourse, 1959, 10 minutes and 48 seconds. This one was a little weirder because the first thing I have to see is Stan Brackage's hairy penis, and I guess having sex with his then wife Jane, and it's all in negative light, and then we see just basically the rest of it's very dark. It's like, I guess he and his wife were like filming, like they're in this house and it's dark and they're holding lanterns, and it's very, very strange, very out there, and yeah, that's all I can say about that one. And then Dog Star Man, which is like one of his, like a lot of people say is his magnum opus, mostly because it's an hour and 17 minutes long. But that's all together. I guess he worked on the project between 1961 and 1964. And each section is a little bit different than the last, but they're all like connected in a way, you know, in style and all that. Prelude I can't describe really. It's just it's 25 minutes of just, there's like naked image of a naked woman. I wrote that there was like, there's just images of an eclipse and explosions. Yeah. And then part 1, which is 30 minutes and 34 seconds, shows a man climbing through the snow, which is Stan Brakhage, I guess. He has an axe and he has a dog with him, and there's a forest, and I think there's a top of a woman's head, although I think that might actually have been Stan Brakhage himself, just because he has longer hair in the film. Then part 2 shows the man climbing through the snow, but it's in negative, and it shows a baby. I guess it was his kid. Part 3 is, I guess, the sexy part. Part 2 is, by the way, is 5 minutes and 36 seconds. Part 3 is 7 minutes and 37 seconds. And it basically shows a naked woman, and it's like, I guess, the sexual part of the film. He refers to it as the sexual part of Dog Star Man. And there's a close up of the nipples, and I guess her vagina and the vulva or whatever. And then part 4 is kind of like the smash of it. It's very sexual, but also kind of weird. It shows like a breast lactating and a topless woman, a woman with no shirt, like outside, and it shows a cabin and the baby with blood on it, and Stan Brakhage with, again, chopping wood, we got the trees and all that. And yeah, these images are very fast-paced, very cuts away and all that, and it's very like, we don't stay with one image for too long. And when we do, it's still very unsettling because the sound is just, there's no soundtrack, so it's basically, like that. And that's disc 1. Oh no! Oh god, no! There's still one more film. The Art of Seeing with One's Own Eyes, which was done in 1971, 31 minutes and 50 seconds, and that one I couldn't watch because what happens is I hit play all, first of all, and it went through them all, and then when it got to The Art of Seeing with One's Own Eyes, it stops because there's a little message that says, "Please be advised, this film is composed entirely of autopsies." And I thought, oh, okay, well, Criterion, for once you did something right. You stopped me for a second, So, and I started it, and I was like, okay, maybe I can handle it. And then they show the dead bodies, and I'm like, and then they start getting the knives out, and I'm like, oh no, and I'm just fast forwarding through, and I'm like, I can't watch this. Oh my god, no! I'll take your word for it, Brakhage. So that one, I'm sorry, that's one that I just couldn't get through. I mean, not even for the fast speed. It's just I'm a little too squeamish on that aspect, you know. Just because, you know, and rightfully so, you know, that of course they, I mean, even and he says that even he was like really squeamish too. But because he was filming it, I guess he had something that distracted him from seeing it, you know, just taking it all in at that moment. So that's an interesting, you know, way to think about it. You know, the fact that the art of filmmaking or the act of filmmaking distracts you from being truly in the moment. You know, so yeah. Disc 2 is the other I guess 21 films. Cat's Cradle 59, 6 minutes and 26 seconds. It's basically him and his wife, Brakhage and his wife, in a house with a cat, and it's mostly red. Yeah. Window Water Baby Moving, 1959, 12 minutes, 13 seconds. This is a more interesting film. It basically shows his wife having a baby, and he filmed it. And he wanted to film it in the hospital, but they wouldn't let him. So he came home, and it's apparently like one of the first films to show like childbirth. One of like especially you think 59, and I guess it's supposed to like be like show like how fathers, you know, it was supposed to have helped fathers get over, you know, watching being in the moment with their wives, you know, because you know before then, you know, fathers waited in the waiting room and Marissa said, you know, the baby's here, and then they come in and see him, and the nurse is all cleaned up and everything, and the baby's umbilical cord is cut. But no, it shows, and I even got a little squeamish too. I kind of had to get past the, you know, when I saw, you know, the head at the top of his head, and I'm like, ooh, I know what's happening, and suddenly it occurred to me that, you know, what was happening. I just thought it was just a pregnant woman in a water. I didn't know if he was actually going to film. I figured she was going to maybe have like, you know, home birth and all that. But I didn't know it was all going to be there, you know. So I was like, ooh. Anyway, there's that. Mothlight 63, 3 minutes 14 seconds. It's just basically a dead moth or the wings of a moth shot. iMyth 1967, 9 seconds. It's basically just like this image of a man, but it's like everything is like colored in a different color. You know, it's very, very weird and trippy and psychedelic, and it's like, yeah, it's very, very just get you, you know, for 9 seconds. It might have been my favorite. I don't know, maybe because it was 9 seconds. It was the easiest to get through, but just because it's just like, you know, this really just stark, just really crazy image for 9 seconds, you know. Let's see. The Wold Shadow, 1972, 2 minutes and 28 seconds. And this one is a little harder to describe too. It's basically just a forest, but you see images, I guess, that Brakhage painted in, and like the camera gets dark and he applies different filters, but it's basically almost one still image. And I think at one point we actually see like some trees, and we see like tinting and like moss and stuff like that. And yeah, so it's a little interesting one. The Garden of Earthly Delights, 1981, minute 28, 27. And this one, just like, it looks like leaves or paintings of leaves. I think this was around the time, the 80s was when he stopped filming, and he just mostly worked with painting. He did a lot of painting on his own. And it actually is so weird because they jump to that one, even though like they're kind of almost shown basically in chronological order. Although I'm just kind of curious as to why they actually moved the Garden of Earthly Delight together. I think it might have had to do because the next 3 films after the Gardens of Earthly Delights are all monaural, or all have sound. So they probably did it for that. Stars Are Beautiful, 1974, 18 minutes and 32 seconds. Again, this one has sound, and it's mostly just Brakhage reciting these poems he wrote about the stars. I guess he used to ask his children like, what do you see in the stars, or versa versa. His children would ask him, and he just started writing like these like I guess creation myths or something like that. And it shows like just images of like stars or something like that. And in between us are these weird images of his kids holding a chicken and clipping its feathers. I don't know. Yeah, so that's that. Kindering, 1987, 2 minutes and 52 seconds. And I guess they are shown in order, except for just The Stars Are Beautiful is shown before that. And maybe just because they put those three sound films together. Kindering is just showing his grandchildren like playing at a playground, but the image is like warped and like the soundtrack is warped and it's really warpy, basically. It sounds like just a merry-go-round going crazy. I Dreaming, which is 1988, 6 minutes and 36 seconds, and it shows it's like just like Brakhage and his family in their house and just kind of sitting and wandering around the house, and it has the soundtrack of this like song that was written, this original song that was inspired by Stephen Foster, I think. Interesting. Dante Quartet, 1987, 6 minutes and 5 seconds. Gosh, what did I write? Paint. And this is when he basically was like the real, like a lot of the rest of these are paintings. And like little titles like Purgatory, and was like toward the end there's like shots of a volcano. Yeah, this is the point where I'm going to refer to my notes because I can't really remember a lot of what I saw. They all kind of blur together, sadly. Night Music, 1986, 32 seconds. Just painting more stars. RageNet, 88, 52 seconds. Same, more blue, a lot of emphasis on blue. Glazed of Catholics, I guess, 1990, 2 minutes and 59 seconds. They look like paintings, but they're like filmed. But it's like he it's more of like, I don't know. Looks like he actually filmed it. Yeah. Delicacies of Molten Horror Synapses, 1991, 8 minutes and 19 seconds. I guess this was his response to television. He had been watching a lot of television, and you see like weird wiggly lines throughout the film that makes it look like you're watching television, like an old television. So, and toward the end and toward the middle, you see like mirror imaging and all that, like a reverse flip image. Interesting technique. Untitled for Maryland, 92, 10 minutes and 34 seconds. And I don't know why it says Untitled, because he calls it for Maryland in his film, in his the commentary, which we'll get to in a bit. And it's basically just like a 4-part movie where it's about religion. There's and there's words like a section where it's like thee and thou. He says they/thou. It's very just really like paintings of like he films like of like insides of a church, like stained glass, I think. It's really interesting. It might have been one of my favorites too, maybe because of the fact that it was split up into certain sections, and rather than title cards, he would like he uses like the liner. He uses Roman. He just uses lines. Like for the first section, he just drew a line, wrote a line down the middle of the film. Number one, he drew 2 lines, then 3 lines, and then 4 lines for this 4th section and all that. So, cool technique. What's after that? Black Ice, 94, 2 minutes and 5 seconds. It's just black, basically. Black, just a lot of black, a lot of darkness. Study in Color in Black and White, 93, 1 minute and 37 seconds. Just more the same, just color, but very dark color, dark black and white-ish. Yeah. Stellar, 93, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. It's very like just a trip through like the stars, very out there. It's kind of just like a painting of the stars and just what space might look like, at like 200 miles per hour. Cracked Glass Eulogy, 92, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. The last film on this with sound. And it's a very minimalist soundtrack. It's just very like light piano, and that one was hard to describe too. It's just basically cracked glass. It just shows like glass, filmed. And then The Dark Tower, 99, 2 minutes and 21 seconds. There's a lot of dark, a lot of color, and shots of the sky, paintings, of course. Yeah, like I said, these are hard to describe. Commingled Containers, 97, 2 minutes and 42 seconds. Another film. And then the final one, Love Song, 2001, 10 minutes and 49 seconds, which I think was one of his last, which was nearing the end of his life. And it's basically just one of the brightest we will see throughout the film. And it's very orangey, and it very much feels like a love painting, painting of love, like and the length, I think, also probably contributes a little to its meaning, the meaning behind it, and it feels like he was just very inspired by this one of his more inspiring ones. I'm sure he has an inspiration for everything. This guy, honestly, he would not. I think this is one of the things. You look at this, anybody else would think, oh, it's just a bunch of paint, but you got to think about the filmmaker and think, unless they say, dude, I was just painting shit, then he was just painting shit, but it's possible that they have a reasoning for it, and this is, here it is, So that's all the films. So I don't know what to like. Originally, when I was thinking about what to say, I was originally gonna say I can't give this an A because I don't know what to make of it, But that was before I got to the second disc and I saw the painting part of it. I just thought the filming was just like, what the fuck is this, And I was being totally American and not Criterion American. But at the same time, I also said I can't give this an F because there was nothing in it that really upset me, apart from maybe, apart from the what was it, the act of seeing with one's own eyes or whatever, yeah. And so that was like, and of course that was like I couldn't, But in the end, I wasn't sure. I liked this one. I liked what I saw in the end. Overall, I liked what I saw. It was different. It was a different. It was definitely a different take on the movie. Definitely a nice departure from all the movies we've been seeing, Criterion. So in the end, I'm gonna go ahead and give it. I don't know. I think the inclusion. I can't give it an A plus. I'm not giving it an A plus. I'm not gonna give it an A either. I'm gonna give it a B plus. I'm gonna give it a B plus because it was on actually damn interesting, and I'd like to see more of his stuff. I'd like to see the rest of them. I don't know. There is a second anthology that was released. I think it's number 518, so we won't get to it for a long time. But all of them both volumes are on Blu-ray, and they're both. I think I went and priced it at Barnes and Noble, and it's like $80. So in July, might be getting it for 40. We'll see. But yeah, we'll give it a B plus. Not bad. Topsies are weird. But yeah, so not really interesting testament for a guy who I'd never heard of before, but after seeing it, I would totally recommend this one for anybody who's interested in making films. And just goes to show you, like, what you can do with little money too. If you have film, you could just paint on it or scratch it, and just like it's a trip what you can do. So we'll leave it at that. Supplements though, there are some supplements. There's some remarks. If you go into the index and look at each one, some of them has commentary. They have commentary by Stan Brakhage, and he just talks a little bit about each one. And then there's video encounters with the filmmaker. There were 4 short films that were done in like '96, and they were just basically just video interviews with that were compiled by I think some French guy, and he just talks about his films, and he works his works and all that, and it's cool to see the guy, and he seems like a really just kind of a humble guy, and all that, and yeah, and he and the commentary actually reflects on his life in 2002, Because I guess he had in the late 90s he was diagnosed with bladder cancer, and he had his bladder entirely removed. And so for the last, and he was okay for a while, but then cancer came back, and he eventually died in 2003. I think shortly after this compilation was released, and it's possible that this was released, in response to his death. I'm not sure because I don't know the release date of this, and there's little information of it, of course, on the Criterion site. They don't have their exact release dates, but yeah, it's a really nice testament to a guy who went out there, made films, and just he's an inspiration to a lot of people. So I'm what can I say? I can't say anything more about it. It stands on its own. I recommend it. At least check it out at least once. At least watch a couple of them. If you can't watch all of them, I'd avoid the autopsy one. That's just him. But I'd check out a little bit of Dog Star Man and I don't know, just anything off the second disc. Maybe like I liked I Myth and Night Music and Rage Net were cool. And just Stellar Love Song. I'm just picking a couple just for the seasoned watcher. So bye, Brakhage and Anthology. B+. Great job, Criterion. Thank you for not telling me about bloody carcasses. All right, so that's it for this week. I think that was honestly the best thing I could do is just watch this one, because honestly, I need to lay down and think about that. So, and yeah, so next week, unless I go crazy and decide to do something this week, which I probably won't, Antoine Daniel calls our name. I got Stolen Kisses. This is the supplement disc. What is this? Oh, here it is. And then I got Love on the Run, and I'm still waiting on Bed and Board. So yeah, I couldn't start on it anyway. So I'm still waiting on that. Hopefully I'll get it this week. If not, then maybe I'll have to wait another week. I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. Or maybe actually it is probably on Hulu Plus, so I'll probably just do it that way. Anyway, so yeah. So next week, The Adventures of Antoine Daniel. I probably won't rewatch The 400 Blows. I remember The 400 Blows. It was a good movie. But that's just part of it. But I may take a peek at it again if I can get it this week, if I can get it enough time. Otherwise, we've still got these films. And yeah, that's it. So that's it for me. And then after that, I'm gonna there's a chance I may actually be back for the White Sheik the weekend of the 9th or the 10th. I'm not sure right now. My plans might have changed, but we'll see. So, White Sheik, Throne of Blood, whatever's after, Coup de Grace, Jubilee, Il Posto, whatever's after that. We're coming to the end. We've only got like 16 more. I mean, actually, technically 15 more. Because, number 185 is the box set, so. But anyway. That's it for me. Thanks for watching. Don't film autopsies. Don't film your childbirth unless you're really into that shit. Don't film nipples lactating. But also be yourself, I guess. If you're a filmmaker, just film as you will. Don't let budgetary reasons, stop you from pursuing a dream you have. I'm doing this on the cheap. Anyway, this ain't cost me a red cent, except for this project honestly hasn't cost me a red cent apart from getting how to get ahead in advertising. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging in there, and we will see you next week for The Adventures of Antoine Daniel. And until then, goodbye.